I'm trying to see how he came to the conclusion. How you come to the conclusion that Jesus Christ,
I'm telling you,
Jesus Christ was stole from Kevin. Cause I can give you sources that will kill your sources. I promise you this. I promise you this. We could dismantle your singleton or
Jesus is your creator, Craig.
Huh?
Jesus is your creator, man. You need the Lord, bro.
As I just mentioned. So you're not ready. You're not ready.
No, hey, let's do this, brother. Let's do this. I'm not probably my nuts up, nigga. We can do this right now.
Why are we talking about the Bible?
What a 2-year-old text you
I don't want to talk about no Bible. I'm not a hotel, nigga. I'm a fucking scientist, nigga. I'm a scientist. I don't give a fuck. What about you? Got a belief system, nigga. I got science, nigga.
Oh!
You got a belief
Shadow
system.
shots is fired.
Yeah, shot fired. Cause I'm telling you right now, I don't believe this shit, and I'm about to prove him
You
wrong.
believe it? You talk about you been custodic, comedic, and you been a fucking initiation. When nigga tell me they initiate, they mean they buy you some shit on the information.
System, bro. That's what the hell you realize. It's not a belief system. It's a way of life.
Okay, way of life beliefs. I ain't fucking tired. Nigga use that shit. Islamic motherfuckers use that shit. Bible motherfuckers use that shit. And Hebrews use that shit. It's not a belief system. It's a way of life.
Listen, bro. Listen, I understand something. I understand energy. I'm one of those brothers, man. When I want to manifest things, I crawl into the darkness and I've been light my way.
Sound good. Sound good. Go ahead.
That's not pseudo.
You on some pimp shit, nigga. I hear you talk. You on some pimp shit, nigga.
All I'm saying is this. All I'm saying is this. It's a failure. It's a failure. It's a failure. On some of these so-called pro-righteous teachers who teach the real shit, because you guys all these
pro-righteous teachers. How you know a pro-righteous teacher, brother? I might be a rich righteous teacher, brother. I might be a well-off righteous teacher, nigga. I'm a well-off righteous teacher. Get that shit right, brother. Don't try to lay me. I'm a well-off righteous teacher. Tell me what I am. Well-off righteous teacher. Call it.
Hold on. You a pro-righteous teacher?
Oh, okay, motherfucker. I'm a well-off righteous teacher, brother. You want to label me? You want to label me so you can think you get a disadvantage right now?
I was talking about.
You said what's wrong with you, pro-righteous teacher? I ain't no pro-righteous teacher. I'm a well-off righteous teacher.
For real, I ain't label you as shit.
You said what's wrong with you, pro-righteous teacher? Anyway, brother, let's get down to the information, bro. Enough of the propaganda. Enough of the propaganda. Let's get down to the information. Either we gonna do this or we ain't. That's all I'm saying.
Let's go, bro. Because I swear to goodness,
hey, you ready? E-Man, you ready?
I promise you I will. You ain't never challenged nobody. Like
E-Man, I don't give a fuck. That shit sound good to you. That shit sound good to you. This shit sound good to you. But now,
it don't matter till we matter.
Okay, now, right? Okay, E-Man, is you record this? I'm only gonna do this live with E-Man right now.
Now he's recording it. Let's do it.
You record E-Man?
He's recording it.
Alright. E-Man, who is this, Heru?
Yeah.
You fucked up already. You got a name Heru. You fucked up already. You fucked up already. You got a name Heru. But anyway,
right here.
Yeah, Heru. I bet you. I seen you before. You was some bullshit. Yeah, you was some bullshit. Hey, check this out though, Heru. I don't understand throw no shots like this. My fault. I'm throwing this shot. I'm throwing a shot, Heru. My fault. I'm throwing a shot. That's in my blackness in me, nigga. We like to signify sometimes. No shot.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, okay, when we get down to this comedic, Jesus Christ story came from comedic. What is your first piece of evidence? And your main evidence will give you credibility on it. I'm talking about like the concept and how it got conceptualized to be there. Can you demonstrate that for me?
Can I demonstrate what now?
Can you demonstrate me how Jesus Christ came from Kemet? Any primary source? Any primary sources? That type of shit. You know what I'm saying? I deal with primary source. I'm a literature dude.
Okay, so look, I'm gonna give you literature right now. Literature, one of the oldest translated writings that was put into a book form. It's a story called The Mouthpiece of Africa, which is in Africa is only the story is this old. We're talking back before 5000 BC. It was the story of Shinsu Heru, which was her, and that story was of similar. I'm talking about so similar to the story of Jesus. In fact, let me tell you how similar it was. Heru was the first one to carry the name Christ or the Christ. So in essence, any initiate, once you reach that certain level, you become a Koresh. Your body is the Koresh, if you overstand. You get what I'm saying? Because you are that anointed money. You're not this physical body. So with that being said, when you look at the Christ or the Koresh, and you look at this story, which is called the Mouthpiece of Africa, and I'm willing to share that.
Mouthpiece of Africa?
Hold on. Yeah. When I'm willing to share this.
Mouthpiece of Africa. No, I know you listen, no be that,
Listen, I want y'all to read it, huh?
Read it up. Yeah. They know. My family
listen. Check this out, Kelly. I'm willing to share this in the group chat tonight. The story of Mouthpiece of Africa, and then y'all can tell me for yourself, did they plagiarize this or not? Because this story is thousands and thousands of years before the story of Jesus.
Mouthpiece of Africa. That's the name of it. This white man concept of making continents. He has a motherfucker in BC time. Already on it.
Are you asking did he
I'm just saying, is you saying that the Kemet died the whole continent of Africa? You say they use that terminology.
That's where you all got too, brother, because Kemet is the youngest of civilizations a long time.
But you said 400 BC. You said 400 BC. That's before Christ still, right? That's before Christ still. That's still before Christ. So you said that people was already naming the continent of Africa? Name the continent of Africa? I think that's a European concept, brother.
This is still predating that Bible by thousands of years, my brother. Whether you're
you're not hearing my argument. You said the Mouthpiece of Africa, right?
Yes.
And in the Mouthpiece of Africa, Heru was fucking Christ.
And watch this. What's your name in Heru? Huh?
Okay. We gotta look at the Mouthpiece of Africa as a primary source, or this just is somebody a book name that came in the fucking 1900s. I'm pretty sure there's a 1900 book. I'm pretty sure,
brother.
I'm pretty sure. Do we have a fact check on her? We have a fact check on her.
Yeah, we do, Frank. We try to check.
And then you look at the dates of
he said that the Mouthpiece of Africa is a primary source in ancient time.
What's the primary source?
Is that what you said, brother?
You hear me,
Yeah.
He said, check if there's a primary source, the Mouthpiece of Africa in BC time. He said like 400, 500 BC.
What does that mean, like mouthpiece?
I didn't say 500 BC. You put words in my mouth.
What is that?
It's the most ancient story you can get to in Africa. The Mouthpiece of Africa.
And how old is that? Get an estimated time. You ain't got to be right on your estimated time.
It's before 5,000 BC.
5,000 BC?
Yes.
What about the lip plate?
No. The Mouthpiece of Africa.
What is that?
That's where they get the whole Jesus fucking story from.
He said that 5,000 BC.
Look that up.
Hey, listen, Sa and they're much older than what you pronounce today and what you think they are today.
That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter right now. That don't matter right now. We're trying to see on the 5,000 BC. We're trying to see the 5,000 BC was Heru, Jesus Christ. Like they had the same attributes.
Jesus Christ, that whole story is like.
The attributes of Jesus Christ. We gotta see if that shit is legit for us. When motherfucker talk about the Mouthpiece of Africa in BC time, talk about Heru. It's just a primary source.
I'm gonna drop it for you because I got the link right here.
Hey, you know what a primary source is, right?
It's credible because everybody has been challenged through the United Nations. Not one Egyptologist, not one anthropologist, not one person challenged the findings of this.
Because it's probably bullshit. You don't challenge bullshit, brother. You don't challenge bullshit, brother.
I'm gonna share it. You challenge the documents, then, bro. You produce documents.
I want to see the primary source where they got it from. Like did they get it from did they get it out the walls, the papyrus, where the house is?
Or you just running your mouth right now?
Where the house is? Come on, real question is scholarship, bro. Come on, real question is scholarship, brother. I'm not with the conspiracy theory.
What are your credentials?
We ain't worried about credentials. You worried about the wrong shit right now. I got you in this little box. Let me keep you in this little box, because you want to go everywhere. You want to be Tasmania right now. You want to
use all that shit, bro, because I'm going to drop it.
No, I'm going to give you the primary.
Hold on, this whole last
the primary the mouthpiece of Africa. Do you understand what I'm talking about right now?
I ain't gonna argue with you.
No, but do you understand what I'm asking for?
I'm gonna drop facts right quick, bro.
Do you understand what I'm asking for? Like everybody got to get this. If it's a such thing as a mouthpiece of air, I want to see the primary. Like where it housed it. Is it a fucking papyrus? Is it a fucking glyph? Cause motherfucker won't write on no 5,000 BC. They won't write on no motherfucking papyrus. We can throw that one out of there. We can throw that one out of there.
Brother, let me say something to you. The mouthpiece of Africa is a story. It was an oral story.
Oh, nice oral.
It's almost the same fucking exact story as you get of Jesus Christ, except for the characters changed and there was some alterations to the story. But you could tell that what alterations came later because you gotta look at the original. The original story came before that shit in the Bible.
Bro, you got niggas in 2019. You got niggas in 2019. You got motherfuckers in 2019 practicing all type of cultures that been in their fucking lineage for 5,000 years. All of a sudden they say they're the Hebrews. You know what I mean? I don't go off oral story. And they say, and I ask them for, it's an oral story.
Listen, bro.
With my selected esoteric group. Well, my selected esoteric group, because I'm more popular. I'm just saying, that shit don't work.
You really think you black? We call each other black. I like to use the word, I use the term black.
Now about the word black. Now about the word black now. Now about the word black now? Then we go. Stay in your box, nigga. I know you niggas hate being in boxes, nigga. You like to go everywhere, nigga, to make yourself look small. You like to go everywhere to make yourself look small, nigga. Stay in your box so I can keep you dumb. You dumb. You dumb. I want to keep you dumb right now.
Like on some shit, like that just showed me you ain't got nothing to dispute me, man. You
can't show me the primary. You can't show me the primary, and we can build up your primary, right?
I can't if you just look. You just running your mouth. You not listening. If you just shut up for a minute,
I gotta listen to you. I gotta listen to you.
No, this nigga fat mouthing on the whole thing, and he can't hear nothing. Then he talking about I ain't saying nothing because you talking.
You call it talking, I'm gonna talk. Nigga, show me the evidence. I didn't have from the primary.
The mouthpiece of Africa is the oldest fucking story you could get to about the
Did you tell me this? Did you show me the primary?
I will show you that. Matter of fact,
okay, go ahead. Why you call it talking? Why you can't do it? Why you can't do it?
Hold on. Let me do this. Wait, so you shut the fuck up. And then pay attention.
I'm gonna shut the fuck up and you show me this, bro. Primary. You know what the primary is, right?
So what's going on, fellas?
Hold on,
I'm gonna stay the fuck up out of you. You like goddamn jump on
this big out. You know, a nigga worst nightmare.
Nah, you good. You just like to talk, nigga.
Hey, Craig, you know I'm nigga's worst nightmares.
You know niggas' worst nightmare.
Shit, why not?
Unless you get a nigga that dumb as shit.
No, hell no. Craig, you know.
Hey, Tommy trying to teach you, but he trying to cater to the wrong side of you.
No.
I'm trying to teach you. He's catering to the wrong side.
No.
Hey, Craig, I ain't got nothing to do with
Hey, you know what? You ain't know when it comes to Alvin, nigga. Alvin funny and shit, nigga. Nah, but hey, Tommy, this ain't about you. I don't even want to make it about you. I can make it about you another time. But, do you understand? Hey, Tommy, I like when you moderate sometime, right?
Yeah.
But do you know what primary is, right?
It's in the chair.
You mean like a primary resource?
A primary source.
Yeah.
Does that mean like the hieroglyph it came from, and then somebody got to read it directly to it, and then it be peer reviewed? If you don't have the primary source that say they translated it into the mouthpiece of Africa, right?
Yeah.
Like what if you don't have that? If you have a nigga that's on here writing column in the 1900s.
They didn't believe in that shit because he knew it was going to be tainted simply because of the
Craig, what he has is called a tertiary. That means it's not directly to the primary source, it's a third piece of like evidence. Maybe even further than that. So you're right about that.
Yeah, what I'm saying is, it could be some shit I just made up yesterday, brother.
So what do
you know what I mean? If I don't have no primary, and no primary, I can't say where it housed it. I can't say where it's housed it. So I can get the museum thoughts about it. The museum thoughts about it. And if I can't say that it's in this certain temple or whatever, right? Because the temple's still a museum. All the pyramids still are a museum. They document that shit very well. If I can't get that exists, we have no conversation. We just got a guy trying to make me believe in his bullshit right now. I've been fucked over by niggas before. So I know what to ask for now.
Oh damn, Heru got off the line. What's going on?
I think Craig made him mad.
What you do to boy, bro? You bodied on Craig?
I just asked him a simple question, the primary, brother. I didn't body him. And he was trying to go, well, I'll keep a nigga right there. Like, you not gonna get me off court. I just want to answer the primary so we can build from now, right? That's good. We
Craig,
gotta learn new shit.
Craig, he has belief systems. You know, people get mad over their belief systems.
Right.
And then when I
Everybody
say it on top, you are this shit. When I hear the word this shit, I automatically say, you got a belief system.
I mean, you know what he fucked up on?
You don't protect it.
Yo, I mean, you know what Heru fucked up on? Yo,
Right.
I don't think Amin could hear me. Ask him if he can hear me.
You can hear E-Mac. He just said, ask you a question.
Oh no, I didn't hear him. What you say?
Hey, Amin, can you hear me?
Hold on, let me log out and log right back in. Hold that.
Yeah, you gotta log out.
That's that same shit that happened with me and Greg last time.
Yeah, that shit happens sometimes. We be talking this shit. Nigga be thinking, nigga, no one really trying to answer the question. Nigga, actually, they be fucked up like this sometimes.
All right,
Right.
what was your question, Nick?
You know how I think Heru fucked up?
How?
When he brought up like the Bible, and then he should have went and like and started talking about the science and shit, like, cause he said he believed in science, and the other dude said he believed in something else. I mean, Craig said he believed in science. He should have attacked that and try to like get him to Shucklebuck.
No, I just said, hey, the comparison can be truthful, right? It can be truthful. I just want him to demonstrate, right? But my study says that Jesus Christ did not come from Kemet.
Right.
Hell no.
No. If you read the scriptures,
That's completely false.
If we read the scriptures, Jesus Christ.
Because Christ is Christian.
Hold on. Because after he's saying he's not, I'm saying he did. Jesus Christ, 100% came out of Egypt.
Oh.
How do we know that?
How we know it?
Because in ancient times, the Messiah was called the Messiah, because the priests would anoint themselves in crocodile fat, right? And the word Messiah in Egypt became Messiah in Hebrew when the Hebrews plagiarized the Egyptians. So if you read in the book of Hosea 11:1, it says, when Israel was a child, I loved him, and out of Egypt I called my son, referring to Jesus Christ. Remember, because King Herod was trying to kill Jesus. So Jesus fled into Egypt to hide from King Herod. Then the Most High said, out of Egypt I called my son. This is why the Jews rejected Jesus, because they knew that all the teachings of Jesus were the teaching of Egyptian Masonic doctrine and not of Hebraic teachings, like healing people, healing the blind, bringing people back to life, healing the sick. Those are all done in Masonic rituals. I help the blind to see. I help the deaf, mute person to hear again. Laying of healing hands. That's all Masonic. And the Jews didn't want anything to do with Masonry or Egypt, and so they rejected the teachings of Jesus. Jesus died at the age of 33 years old, which is the highest degree that a Scottish Rite Mason can attain is 33 degrees of wisdom. That just happened to be the same age that Jesus died at. So what I'm trying to tell you is that Jesus Christ was a master Mason from ancient Egypt, and his name was Heru. It's just when they copied it, they just changed the name Heru or Cyrus to Jesus Christ, and they had access to those stories in Alexandria, Egypt, before they burned down the library in Alexandria, and they just attributed all the characteristics of the Egyptians to their new Roman sun god, which was Jesus Christos, based off of the sun and thunder god Zeus.
No.
That's what they did.
Hey, so there's your narrative. There's your narrative. There's your narrative armor. There's your narrative armor. If you go narrative, you gonna stand on that narrative armor.
Yeah.
Now let me go ahead and crush this real quick. If you go to the Pistos Roman family, they're called the Pistos family. P-I-S-T-O.
Oh, the Flavius. Yep.
If you go to the Pistos family and you look up Josephus, you will find out that the whole Bible is a Roman play, and that Jesus is Jesus Justus. Not no plagiarized text from Egypt. It was a play about his sons. It was a family play, and they all was included. They ain't got shit to do with Egypt. Now they probably incorporated that to confuse it even more, but for the most part, that was some shit about his son. That's why
if you just read any of the ancient literatures, right, of Hebrew, that's why I have an advantage over all you motherfuckers. Because I look at the literature, right, of the ancient people of the time. It might not be the original person wrote it, but I read it. Hello, y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. and even in the historical fact, you have three type of fucking Christianity that was kind of going on at the same time within 100 years, right? You had the Jewish Christians, and they just incorporated Jesus, right? Because they thought he was the Messiah. They thought he was the Messiah. Then you had an esoteric Jesus that said he never existed. He's just a mythological story who had the healing power. He was esoteric. He never existed. Then you have the Pauline Jesus, right? It wasn't really Pauline. It was a dude named Marciello. And he was like, Yahweh was even shit. Yahweh was even shit, and Jesus is the real God. They within 100 years of each other.
You mean the Gnostics?
You know what I mean?
You talking about the
yeah, the Gnostics. Yeah, the Gnostics. They say not them, but they were the Pauline was Gnostic. It was the one I was talking about that Jesus just did. He was just a spirit, right? That was basically what they were saying. He was just a spirit. And you have the Pauline who said that Jesus was an actual person. He really God, and Yahweh was an evil God, and Jesus was a good God.
No.
And then from now, Pauline went into the pagans, and he promoted it. And the Council of Nicaea was the only reason it got corrected. It got corrected.
But
right?
that's funny
like
you said that, Craig.
Today, like how we know today. It got corrected on what we know today. Because you have all these small tribes believing in different types of Jesus, right?
Please don't tell me you walking in.
Right. That's right, Craig.
Yeah, you have all these small tribes that believe in different types of Jesus. And when you have these different types of Jesus, of course, they were just scriptures, right? They want to eat canonized. Then a person came up with canonized, like it's like about 4 or 5 scriptures together. Then they canonized. The book came much later. The Bible.
I mean, we understand that, but see, you said this would give us an advantage. Like you were saying something the nigga ain't never heard before.
No, what I'm saying this would get. I read the actual literature to back.
Yeah.
Like, if it come down to it, I can show you what these people was thinking. These people was thinking, not what I was thinking.
Come on, man.
Not what I was thinking. I was thinking because you probably have not read the literature.
What I'm saying
you don't understand what Africa, you don't understand what the gospel means? Do you understand what the gospel really means, brother? Do you understand what the gospel really means, bro? Do you understand what the gospel really means? And really the gospel, do you understand Acts 1? Do you understand Acts 1?
You can show what they wrote.
What do you need in Acts 1, brother?
Listen, you can show what they wrote. You can't show what somebody's thinking because you're not in their head.
No, you see it going wrong. Of course, I can show you what they was thinking, what they was on. I can show you everything a nigga was on if he write it down. That's why I love writing. That's why I love writing so much. I hate oral tradition. Oral tradition niggas change up shit. Oral tradition change up shit. Hey, man, read it and wrote it down. They wrote it fucking down.
You can't understand why they wrote it down.
And I can understand the times they was in.
No, you can understand why they wrote it and what it was wrote for, but you can't understand.
I can understand why they wrote it. They believed in a fucking Jesus, nigga.
What I'm saying is, you can't understand what they was thinking about, though.
I can understand what they were thinking about reading that fucking literature. I'm reading the literature. I don't understand this shit what you're talking about right now. I can't understand this shit. If I read their literature, I can understand what the fuck they talking about.
You being false right now, brother.
I can understand what it. If you never read it, you don't fucking know.
You being false, bro.
If you ain't never read the literature, you don't fucking know. I have an advantage on you because I read the actual literature of these motherfuckers in their time.
You being false, bro.
Okay.
So,
you
so Craig, explain. No. Explain to us what they was thinking about when they wrote all this shit.
They were thinking about Jesus, nigga. One motherfucker believed that they was a spirit.
They were thinking about Jesus.
One motherfucker about the Gnostic Christians thought Jesus was a spirit. This is what I'm saying. Yeah. The other motherfucker, these are priestly texts, bro. Priestly texts. Priestly esoteric. You can say esoteric. They mean they made that shit up.
Or was it just niggas writing stories?
They were priestly texts. That's what they label themselves as.
So there was niggas writing stories.
All them niggas writing stories. Everybody niggas writing stories.
Of course.
I think they got evidence. When it comes to literature, it's just niggas writing stories. Yeah, okay, we can go with it, right? But they wrote stories. and they believed in Jesus. And them niggas, some motherfuckers thought he was spiritual. One motherfucker thought he was the fucking Messiah that the Old Testament talked about. There was the Jewish Christians, and then you had a Paulina Jews who hated Yahweh and called him evil. That's the same Jesus.
Hey,
That's what we
Craig.
practice today.
Hey, Craig. That's funny you said that because the Christians today, they hate the God of the Old Testament.
Really? I mean, you can read the literature, right? You know what I'm telling you, motherfucker. Read the literature. They call fucking Yahweh evil, bro.
He is evil.
He is evil, and we know this.
No, I'm not trying to get y'all on 2019 thinking. I'm not trying to get no 2019. I'm just talking about how the people thought at that time and how they portrayed things. Y'all want to go to y'all thinking. Like, I can get into y'all thinking. I think he fucking evil too. Matter of fact, I think all of them motherfuckers were evil and wrong. But I'm not doing it right now. What I'm saying is you have three types of Jesus within 100 years of each other. Three types of Jesus concept within 100 years of each other. And Paul, who went into the Gentiles and mixed culture and religion, like he freestyled this shit. He freestyled this shit. Oh, your God believe in this? Okay, I'm mixing my God with your God, and that's Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm saying. You can read it in the literature. And them niggas was more gangster than Jesus ever been. Paul and Peter were the most gangster motherfuckers I read in the Bible. They're the most gangster motherfuckers I see. I like these niggas some gangsters. I know, I can read a gangster without reading a gangster.
That's correct. You know, you choked the white boy out because you didn't let him make a phone.
You bringing it up. Nigga, I just know weak ass niggas like you, bro. That's all. I'm good at that. You know what I'm saying?
Correct. You wouldn't want to see me. I'm a real demon.
Okay. You a real deepest. You a real deepest. I know you're a real deepest, bro.
The worst evil you thought you did.
I know you're a deepest, brother. But I ain't gonna go with a good hug contest like I did with all of them one day. I'm not gonna go with a back and forth today. I'm not gonna go with a back and forth today. Because I will do what I gotta do if a nigga put me out in the streets, right?
No, I'm fucking with you. The point is that I get what you're saying, bro.
But only thing I'm saying is I know a motherfucking bro. If you read Acts 1 with Peter and Paul and how they came into Christianity, they wait. Nigga, you will say that's the gangster. That's why the Italians love that Catholic shit, that Christianity shit. That shit speaks to them directly. Acts 1. I think it's 22. You know what I mean? I know it lay down to get down type of shit. That's all I'm saying. But I'm waiting for Heru. I just wanted him to show me a primary source. I wasn't trying to be so we could be here for Nick. See, I don't go around the world with niggas. I ain't got time to go around the world with niggas. I gotta go home, nigga. I got a curfew, nigga. I can't go around the world with you. Let's get straight to the point. That's all I'm saying. These niggas like to go around the world, nigga, like time and space around the motherfucker.
Hey, Emmaculate, why people are confused about the definition between child and teenager?
What?
People are confused about the definition of child and teenager.
It's two different definitions, though.
No, it ain't.
Yes, it is, bro.
I'm not putting it back there. Watch it. And there's no manipulation, like no bullshit. I was looking this shit up because it was interesting to me. I wanted to see how much of the game it really is. You know, I'm on that. I watched it. It's crazy shit.
They want to separate it, would have had one word, bro. Hey, email, you gonna have to change this title to this thing.
I like how I feel sitting on top of everybody's head.
You gotta change the title because we didn't even get to that part. I want to talk about the white boy Charles off. I think I gave him my explanation too early. Darwinism. We trying to say Basically, they said that evolution is a creation story.
It is.
It's a creation story. Natural selection. Nigga don't even understand natural selection. None of that shit. And I will beat up on it. I will beat up on it. Like I said, E-Bet, if we live in the indigenous time, not when we got our flying.
Evolution is the change in the characteristics of a species over several generations.
Ain't no man was there that ever observed man transforming into what we are today.
The process of natural selection.
But it wasn't Darwin though.
The theory of evolution.
Oh yeah, what you looking up at?
The idea.
I'm gonna look it up so the people can see it right quick.
In biology, evolution is the change in the characteristics of a species over several generations and relies on the process of natural selection. The theory of evolution is based on the idea that all species are related and gradually change over time.
All right, here we go, right here.
Creationism.
I think.
Let's go with it. Now here we go.
Right now,
Creationism.
I'm gonna post it up right quick. Hold up.
The universe and living things originated from specific arts of divine creation, as in the Bible account, rather than by natural processes such as evolution. And then it says another.
The theory of the evolution of
that ain't the only definition. Another term for creation science. What's creation science? We'll go to that. The interpretation of scientific knowledge in accordance with belief in the literal truth of the Bible, specifically regarding the creation of matter, life, and humanity. So actually, it would.
It's a science, dog.
Yeah, it would be the Christian evolution.
That mean God made man from dirt and breathed air and a grown human popped up.
Evolution.
That's science right there, baby. That's science right there. That's called total science.
You can't put this
creation science.
Right. Right.
No, just because you use the word science.
No, I'm not using anything. This is all Google.
Of course, I have the right to say anything, nigga.
No, I'm saying the Torah has
anything, but it's not science.
The Torah has its own science of cosmology. Just like the theory of evolution.
Okay, and it's based off like astrology, and it's just based off. What is the evidence of a motherfucking man in any fucking part of any creation that we know today that you can pull a ring about a creator?
Because we're made from the Torah.
You can only go esoteric. You can go only esoteric with it.
Darwinism. Hold on. Darwinism. The theory of the evolution of species by natural selection advanced by Charles Darwin.
Right. This shit's a fucking theory.
So evolution was created.
You know what a theory is? No, the theory of evolution was not. He just created natural selection.
I'm gonna say it again. The theory of the evolution of species by natural selection advanced.
By natural selection.
By Charles.
By natural selection.
Now, it donates Darwin's specific view that evolution is driven mainly by natural selection.
Only thing you can use Charles Darwin for, he did not evolution been talked about.
Basically, his whole doctrine comes from natural selection.
No, he didn't use all the components.
Yes, he did.
He used all the components.
But Darwinism was influenced by someone else.
Biological evolution developed by an English naturalist, Charles Darwin.
But if you look,
stating that all species of organisms arise and develop through the natural selection of small inherent variations that increase the individual's ability to compete, survive, and reproduce. That is all the evolution theory wrapped up into.
Yeah, compete, right? You know what compete means, right?
Competition.
Come on, man. We're not slow.
No. What I was saying, compete. He said that for your species to survive to the next generation. I don't give a fuck what the fuck you do. If your species survive, even if a fucking tornado come through that motherfucker and wipe out everybody but two motherfuckers, them motherfuckers competed with nature.
No, because
Anytime.
no, that's false. Because once it
That
ended,
is-
hold
that
on.
is-
Once
They
a
didn't
species
compete
dies,
with nature.
right? Once a species
No,
dies out, hold
compete
on.
with nature is your species survived that phenomenal, right? Your species survived that phenomenal. It might was two.
Hold on,
It might was two.
what phenomenon? What phenomenon are you talking about?
I'm just using whatever phenomenon.
And what is the
You
fact?
have hurricanes, tornadoes.
Hold on, could you please explain this phenomenon that actually made those species go extinct?
They did not survive.
Survive what?
They wasn't selected for natural selection.
But how do you naturally
Yeah,
select something if you don't?
please.
If that's an idea.
That's not an idea if they did, nigga. If that species dead, it's not an idea.
Craig is right, because if they can't adapt or natural select, then there's no evolution. There's no progression as a people.
That was no progression.
No, it's not. That means they just extinct.
That's a part of evolution, bro. That's a part of evolution.
What y'all not understanding is that y'all missing is Charles Darwin created both natural selection and the evolution theory.
He did not create
Nah,
the
he
evolution
didn't create
theory.
it. Nah, he didn't create. He got it from somebody else,
Hold
and
on,
he just crafted it.
Hold on.
He built off of it.
Yeah, he
built
built
off
it.
it.
Yeah.
He had his mechanism of
He
natural
did.
selection.
He did. I agree with that. He made it famous though. He made it famous
Yeah,
in the community.
because of academics.
Right,
They
right.
write books out. They
Hold on.
academics compete. They reviewing each other's work. They reviewing each other's work.
When you
No,
look
yeah.
at the founders, hold on. The first fully formed theory of evolution in 1858, Charles Darwin and Alfonso Russell Wallace published a new revolutionary theory explaining.
Yeah, revolutionary.
No, listen, you're not understanding. I'm gonna read it again. The first
revolutionary.
fully formed theory of evolution. The first fully formed theory of evolution was Charles Darwin and Alfonso Russell Wallace.
And they were they used the
both are the
scientific.
founders of
Listen
the
what I'm saying.
evolution theory.
Listen what I'm saying. They used the scientific method and they used the empiricism. That means they had evidence of it. Like they had skulls and different shit.
They created the evolution theory.
Everybody else was just looking at a giraffe is tall.
They created the evolution theory out their fucking brain. Stop making
No, brother. Like you had Adams.
These
You
are
had
weird.
Adams, right? You had people who believed in Adams before it ever existed. It was just one of the things that somebody predicted and got right? Until we was able to test it and measure it.
What I'm saying is this.
Shit happened like this.
Charles Darwin
Never believed in all this
and
shit,
Wallace.
and then when you could test it and measure it, that was real.
But the shit is still a theory though, because you can't prove these things.
Do you know what a theory is, brother?
They
Yeah,
created
I know
it
what
out
a theory
their
is.
brain.
I know what
Everybody
the
know what a
theory
theory
is.
The
is.
first newly formed. It's
No,
the first.
hey, cut out, Al. Let's get between me and eBay right quick so I can kill this
All right,
fuck. He get it about 3 times. Do you know what a theory is?
Yeah. Do you know what the theory is?
A scientific theory. Do you know what
Oh
it is?
no, I know it's a scientific theory.
That's what he got. He's a scientist.
Right.
Not your fucking theory or you being a nigga from the hood.
No, I get mine from the Bible, so I ain't that. So don't compare me to a nigga in the hood.
No, what I'm saying, your normal people shit. Your shit outside science.
Hold on, we got our own science.
Do you know what a theory is?
Yeah, but a
No,
scientific
it's not
theory.
no science.
A scientific theory is not the same as a theory.
What the fuck is that supposed to mean, some nigga in the hood?
Man, shut the fuck up. Nobody want to hear that shit right now. So
Yeah,
go
fuck you.
ahead.
When I say a scientific theory in the hood, it's really a hypothesis, right? It ain't even an educated hypothesis.
Yeah,
I can just say, dog, that nigga over there looks strange as hell.
I know what you mean, man, but just go
Yeah,
ahead
yeah.
with this combo, because I don't want to lose my thought.
Yeah.
A scientific theory is not the same as a theory, though.
It's given.
Yeah.
They do scientific evidence. I mean, they do scientific research.
Based on facts, right? Based on facts.
I want to say based on facts.
It is
Some of
based
it
on
is.
facts,
Some
bro.
of it.
It is.
Some of the theories will probably lead to somewhere, but they still don't know.
No, they do though.
Because no
Like
one was
if
there
I
to
have a
observe it, though.
basketball, but hey, look at this. The basketball exists, right? The basketball exists. It's a fact, right?
Right.
If I drop it on the ground, it go bounce, right? Right?
Say that again?
If I drop it on the ground, it go bounce, right?
Yeah.
And then I say, what's inside the basketball to make it bounce? We gonna say iron, right?
I guess.
Then we're gonna measure how much iron be in a basketball. Then when the mathematical come in, right? The abstract sheet. And then when then we get a tool that put the R in there, right? We get an anapod. Now we put all that together and we explain those facts. And there's a scientific theory on how the basketball bounce.
But that's actually observable.
The natural selection is variable.
The natural selection is not. It's not verified because
yes, it is.
Because no man was there to observe it.
That's not necessarily true. It depends on your environment, and you kind of witness it for yourself as an individual, regardless of what species you are.
No,
and,
you have DNA. You have DNA.
But the man.
Humans have double in intelligence, my nigga.
What, Tobias?
You didn't know that?
No, I didn't.
I sent you the link, but in the 1975, they did like a revised thing where they did studies on gorillas heavy back in the 60s and 70s, and the shit got shut down like the 75. And you know how Peter and when they came around, they helped do safe experiments and studies on animals. So for the past 20 years, they've been starting doing it back and shit. And compared to the data from back then and now, gorillas have double in intelligence is what they think. Like that's a form of natural selection. That's a form of adaptation. And adaptation is just, evolution is just a mistake. It's mistaken for adaptations. And even natural selection, like Greg said, maybe it's because they're in our civilization, they're getting smarter. Maybe it's because they're around us. It might not be their natural selection, but it's their environment. So it's natural.
Yep. It's natural, right? Even if we do it, it's natural.
It's their environment. So regardless of what it is, you feel me? It's the environment at the time. So it's natural. I ain't say it myself, but that's the truth.
So why do we still see human beings?
It's not nature, but it's natural.
If natural selection knocked out the rest of the people, then why do we still see human beings?
Because there are certain...
Hold on, let me get this about you. Natural selection do not have a direction, brother. It don't have a direction. It's not beneficial. It's not none of it, right? You're not dominant, superior.
Bro, what environment on this planet could take out everybody on this world and then somehow they go and they transform from a primate and they had to restart again? Like, that shit don't make no sense to me.
I mean, I don't believe that. I don't necessarily believe that.
Hold on. Primate is just a categorization, brother, like mammal. Like, it's not a fucking species only. It don't apply to humans and monkeys and shit like that. It's like saying, I don't believe in mammals.
Real quick, can I give a good example? Real quick, since you said that, Craig just fucking opened up my mind. The kangaroo, they believe that the kangaroo had over 10 different sibling species or subspecies, but only the kangaroo is left due to somehow that specific subgroup of his species. Because there's no way, my nigga, it's just one species with one subgroup. The kangaroos isn't the only one
to Australia.
Like, and marsupial isn't really, you can't say a marsupial is his species because it's his it's a category of science and how they biology. They say it's only the kangaroo and the closest thing genetically to the kangaroo is a
wombat. When people say hominid great ape, they think that they mean that humans are apes. It is a taxonomy category.
Right.
Exactly. It's not saying that you is a fucking chimpanzee. It's not saying that.
It's saying that y'all both walk on y'all hind legs and y'all both got 4 limbs.
Hold on. Who made up all these fucking terms, yo?
It doesn't matter.
Who made up all these terms?
Who made up these terms? Just translated words from the previous language.
So the people who made up this term told you that this shit is real. So that's like saying all biological organisms are the same.
You gotta realize that advanced modern science isn't advanced modern science. It's just the ways of life that's always been known. Yes, now they just label it and sell it to you. They just label it and sell it to you. They teaching you the same. Actually, nowadays, doctors a lot of people, so it's not really the same. But you can find out the natural ways of everything. It's always been known. These niggas just wrap it up, put it on the shelf, and sell it to you.
Okay, you can say God. I can say 8, right? Then you don't have to put 8, the rest of the 8, in the same category as God. And we gonna use the same attributes. Right?
Right.
Like you gotta rotate the cup. You gotta rotate the cup. And you have babies in 9 months, and it take like 4-5 years for your baby to survive on his own, right? That's what apes do. It is a categorization. Then they got nothing to do with I hate the fucking term. You niggas got word phobia. What the fuck wrong with y'all? Y'all got word phobia. That's why y'all go to etymology so damn much.
That's why I tell people it's all in the language, my nigga. It's all in the language. Like I said, you can't really ask. Well, you can't ask who made up these terms, but it's just translated information into the language.
Yeah, it's just people being off other people. We're a species, bro. And even as a species, even if we have the so-called things that colonization involved, it doesn't matter. You colonize, nigga. So you gonna speak their language and you gonna understand their shit. When Egypt colonized the Greeks fucking was talking Egypt shit. And conceptualized Egypt shit. It's just all it is.
Nah.
It's part of the game. It's part of the game.
It's those scientists is the one that made those terms and attached it to you. Get the fuck out of here.
Whatever, bro. Mathematics be the same thing. Nigga, you should be talking math terms, nigga.
Bro. These are ancient principles with modern terms. You really think these niggas are just figuring out how to fucking pull anti? Do you think they just learned how to pull antimatter out of nothing? That's not something you learn in all that ancient knowledge.
Man, God made man from the fucking terror, man, for the fucking earth. That's why we're made up of the whole. That's why we're made up of everything on this planet. That's why everything. That's why everything on this planet. That's why everything on this planet sustains us. That shit ain't no natural selection.
Bro, listen. When he say he made us out the ground, it doesn't mean he grabbed a chunk of dirt or a chunk of the land.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I said that God.
He used every natural component to make this.
Tobias, why do you like to misrepresent me, bro? Tobias, hold on. Tobias, why you misrepresenting what I said, bro?
And he believed the motherfucker.
I wasn't trying to disrespect if you took offense.
No, not disrespect me. I said, why did you misrepresent me?
Oh, my fault if I did.
What are you trying to say to
I said that God created man from the terror, which is earth.
Yeah,
hold on.
What is the process of that, bro?
So it's the process of checking all the elements that sustain us in life to create us from what this universe is.
That's what I'm saying.
That just sound like bullshit. That just sound like bullshit.
How that sound like bullshit?
How do you develop the law? How do you develop the law, brother? How do you develop the law?
Natural element that exists, bro.
The supernatural force that you call is God.
Hey, how do you develop the law?
How what?
How do you develop the law?
What the law?
The lungs, like the breathing.
Oh, what about the lungs?
How do you develop it? Out of dirt.
Because it's called organs. He developed the organs from the dirt.
What organs might not be made out of dirt? How do you know that?
Because we all made from the womb, which came from the first woman, for the first man, which made from the dirt of the earth.
Bruh, okay, what I'm trying to say is, okay, he designed it, right? Why he designed the other animals? Did he did them from the dirt?
Yes.
Yeah.
He did them from the dirt too, right?
Don't take it as literal dirt, bro.
No. He is taking the little.
Yeah,
He taking the little dirt.
Bro, talk to me like
He is taking it as literal dirt.
We're just saying dirt. Y'all saying dirt.
He a fucking artist, right? He just not sculpting shit. He like, oh, I'm gonna make a fucking lion.
Look at.
Oh, I'm gonna make a fucking hand.
The Hebrew word. Look at the Hebrew word. Is afar. He made man from the afar, which is called the land.
He picking up dirt and making shit. Like, I'm gonna form a fucking animal.
Bro.
Matter of fact, I'm gonna follow Herman. That the dumbest, when it comes to voices, he gonna be the less, when it comes to his fucking throat passage, he gonna be the less species, the less dominant on throat passage. And his him eating and breathing gonna come out the same thing, and so he could choke the fucking death. But at the same time, I made it that close together. So the nigga could talk. Cause everybody else and shit ain't there, they can't talk. I'm God, I was that fucking knowledgeable. Like, yeah, nigga, I'm gonna make these niggas shit together, but they better not eat too much food. Matter of fact, I'm gonna get rid of their wisdom too. So, since they learn how to cook now, and all the other apes got brains and shit, I'm gonna take away their wisdom too, and make them have all type of God diseases, since they know how to cook now. God, nigga. God, I did it.
Hey, where the fuck is Gil? Yo, where Gil at?
Gil my other best friend. Gil my main best friend. Gil my other best friend. Like, we got all hooked up together, we best friends.
Damn, what about, bro, alright.
Tabari, you started to grow on me, Tabari. You know, I could stand your little ass. I put you in there with apples.
For real?
Well, yeah, I did it first. I ain't gonna lie.
Oh, you said that first. Oh, okay. I thought you meant now. I was about to say what?
No. You beat them up on that business shit, and I was like, oh, look at it. I like how you put that information together.
Oh yeah.
You beat them up badly.
You always like I told you always
beat dude up badly. Like he's all saying, I could go read a law book for a year and I can challenge the Supreme Court.
No, you can't, bro. You're not gonna go to the Supreme Court. They finna look at you so stupid. They treat you like shit when you go to court in the Supreme Court, bro. Like they make people look dumb.
They wouldn't even let him even do that. They'll let him just go to the city court and let the city court beat up on his ass. Let the city court beat up on his ass. And you can pass the city court, nigga, with this what you're reading law books, nigga. You good.
He ain't even worthy.
And now the boys always say it. They throw all these languages out, all these words out, and none of that shit mean shit. That mean you don't know a lot of words, nigga. That's all I mean.
Right.
And never wrong with people. They think because they know a lot of words. They could put.
He said he's gonna go in there and dance for the Supreme Court, talk trash, tell them what it is. I'm like, bro, that's the Supreme Court. You're standing in front of 12 Judge Supremes. Like, you're not standing in front of one judge. You're standing in front of the 12 most powerful judges in the country.